Hi, my name is Steve Fukudo. I'm the game director at Wikia Entertainment on Titanfall, and this is Expert Showcase Special Edition. We're not commenting on the 360 version other than we handpicked Bluepoint to do the port, and we're very excited to see the results. We're a small studio. We really need to focus our efforts as a small team, so we felt that given our past relationships working with Microsoft, it was the best decision at the time. That said, we're not opposed to expanding to other platforms in the future potentially, if we can. Well, Deathwatch 19, you're going to have to play the game. One of the things this whole project has been is an exercise in managing chaos and bringing the chaos and madness of Titanfall down to a level where players can actually process what's going on and have fun doing so. We had a lot of experiments where we did have higher player counts. It was a little too nuts, and we said, you know what, it's got to be fun first, and 6v6 is what turned out to be the right balance of chaos and fun. The AI are there not to act as human proxies, but they are there to enhance that sense of you are in this big cinematic battle situation where you've got a lot of opportunity to get a lot of kills. One of the things we wanted to do from a design goal perspective was have a target-rich environment. So there's a lot of things to kill, but in multiplayer, that creates kind of paradox where if someone's getting a lot of kills, someone's getting a lot of deaths. So this was a way also to address that issue and make sure that players who weren't getting a lot of kills of players could still get a lot of kills of the grunts and the specters that are roaming throughout the levels. One of the things that the grunts will do is they will comment on you with in reverent tones. They'll act as though you are something very special as you go by. They'll comment on things you do, like if you jump on a Titan, they'll yell about, holy cow, did you see that guy jump on that Titan? So they act as a bit of a comic relief as well. One of the key things is that the game doesn't take itself too seriously, and there's a big laugh to be had when a player is actually killed by one of the grunts, and you'll see the obituary print up on the screen and say, oh, militia grunt killed so-and-so, and you go, aha, because no one's really supposed to actually die to these things, really. It just livens up the world, makes it feel more full and more exciting, and makes it also, again, that target-rich environment. Well, the game is always online, always connected multiplayer experience, so the answer would be no. There are no bots on Titanfall. The whole intent behind the campaign multiplayer aspect of Titanfall is to introduce characters and introduce the universe of Titanfall to players so that they kind of have a sense of who's talking to me, why are we fighting? To answer those kinds of questions, we created the campaign multiplayer experience, and that allows us to introduce a level, set up the stakes and the circumstances of each mission through interesting intro sequences, custom crafted sequences within the levels themselves with unique dialogue and music, and so it gives you this nice, much more theatrical presentation of a multiplayer experience. There are a number of unlocks. There is a certain kind of progression within the game as well. You'll be able to customize yourself out. And that's one of the most exciting and fun parts of the game, is putting those things together and trying to see where those things lead to in all the varied circumstances in combat in Titanfall, depending on what the geography of the level is, depending on who you're up against and what they're equipped with, and trying to suss that out and gauge that in the midst of fighting. One of the things we're really big on is the idea of actually having fights. That means not I see you, you die, or you see me and then I die. More I see you, I attack you, you notice it, you respond, we start fighting it out. Now there's this big game of cat and mouse. I'm weaving and bobbing and running on walls, or if I'm in a Titan, I'm extending, vortex blocking, deploying the electric smoke and all these other things to try and game the situation in order to defeat you, my opponent. That's one of the most exhilarating aspects of the game, and there's a lot to explore, and we want players to find out a lot of these things as they play the game at launch and discover these things organically. Once upon a time, the game started out everyone as a Titan, and we really focused on that for a while, but it was a little bit semi-aimless because we hadn't really combined the ingredients together quite right, where we didn't have the pilots and the Titans, and you have those four interactions. We've got the Titans versus the Titans, you've got the pilots versus the pilots, and then you've got Titans versus pilots and pilots versus Titans. So you have these four kinds of interactions, and it wasn't until we sort of hit upon that we weren't able to really take off until we discovered that, and then solving all the different problems that come with that in terms of spatial relationships for Titans versus pilots, making sure that if you're ever in trouble as a pilot, you're not too many seconds away from an opportunity to wall run and escape the situation, or use one of your abilities to evade. Same with Titans. I like to liken the Titan fighting as a cross between martial arts and jet fighter combat. You don't want to get too greedy in a fight and overcommit to the fight and then find yourself getting attacked by multiple Titans or even multiple Titans and pilots at the same time. There's a lot of depth and dimension to the way the game plays. Titanfall is being released on Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC on March 11th.